Hello again, Metters, and welcome to my Once Human Chef class guide for the 2.0 update. In this guide, I'll be showing you what the traits are of this class, how we utilize these traits to aid us in the adventures, and discussing some of the many combo dishes that are now available. Also, we'll be looking at what the creative cooking at the stove looks like and how it functions. So sit back, chefs, and let's begin. So let's start off by looking at the traits that we get. We get creative cooking, freely chooses ingredients to craft unique dishes without being restricted by recipes. During creative cooking, there's a chance for a success that grants the dish enhanced effects with longer durations. The next trait that we get is called glutton, can consume more food than normal to gain up to 2 food effects and 2 drink effects simultaneously. Next is ingredient scent. Sharp nose for ingredients with a chance to obtain bonus ingredients when gathering in wilderness settlements. Bonus ingredients can be obtained from fridges, beverage machines, and food crates. And for our last trait, we have culinary perfection. Has a refined palate. Consuming the same creative dish repeatedly will enhance its dish and ingredient effects and durations. Dishes that use different ingredients does not count as the same. Next is the special items. So campfire stove, a quick assembled outdoor cooking station that can also be shared with friends. Then we have our gourmet atlas, which is basically our chef's recipe book. And then we get creative cooking recipe, which allows us to do the creative cooking. So now let's take a look at these traits one at a time and explore how they function. Let's start with the creative cooking trait and the campfire stove. To place your stove, you'll need to go into your backpack and then navigate to the constructions tab. Here you'll find the campfire stove. Once you place it down, you can cook your regular recipes and you'll also see the new creative cooking option. This feature is also available on the stoves you have in your territories. Now let's look at making some dishes. I'll go more into what ingredients do what a little later, but for now, let's just cook and see what we can create. So after adding deer meat, beet, cheese and corn oil, I managed to make an epic, exquisite veggie roasted meat skewer. Here you can see the buffs from the ingredients that I put in. We'll talk more about this in a little bit, but let's cook some more dishes and see what happens. Now let's try a fish dish. So after adding a northern pike, deviated morels, corn oil and some sugar, I created a blue quality dish called a delicious vegetable grilled fish skewer. Not too bad for a first attempt at a fish-based creative cooking combo. Next I added scarlet calamus, deviated mint, angelfish and butter. This time I managed to create an exquisite mixed vegetables grilled fish skewer. It seems like these ingredient combinations can really lead to some high quality dishes. So now let's take a look at the gourmet atlas. This is where you'll find all the recipes you've made so far while experimenting with creative cooking. To find this, it is located in your backpack under the special tab. It's essentially your personal cookbook of culinary discoveries. Now let's have a look at how the creative cooking food buffs actually work. So after eating my first custom made dish, I gained the following buffs. Refreshing aroma. This is the base buff from the dish itself, providing a general benefit. Then I've got deer meat for the extra bullseye damage when and after applying bullseye. Deviated mushroom. This one's gradually recovers sanity out of combat. So if you're running a build that's not focused on having low HP and low sanity, like a treacherous tide setup, and you find yourself on low sanity, this would be really good for you to recover without much effort. And then you have deviated beet. This gives you experience gain from battle plus 10%. This would be particularly good during the initial leveling phase to help push your levels up much faster. Now is where we get to utilize the second trait of the chef class, which is multiple food and drink buffs. For now, I'll just show the food and I'll explain the drink buffs a little bit later on with the other buffs. As you can see, if I eat the next food, I will gain effects similar to before. But this is where it gets interesting. As the buffs begin to stack, you can hold a total of 10, as shown on screen. But be careful, because when eating more food, some buffs will start to get removed to make room for the newest buff. As you can see on screen, each time I eat a new dish, older buffs are getting replaced with the new dish effects. So careful management of your buff bar is key. Now let's take a look at 3 legendary recipes I've created so far and what they do. Remember the last trait of the chef's class, culinary perfection. This states that you have a refined palate, meaning consuming the same creative dish repeatedly will enhance that dish. as well as its ingredients, effects, and duration. However, dishes that use different ingredients don't count as the same, so keep that in mind when aiming for those enhanced buffs. So the first legendary recipe is for Supreme Meat Platter. After consuming this, you'll gain Energy plus 100, Build Smash. Upon triggering a keyword effect, gain crit damage plus 3% for 30 seconds, stacking up to a maximum of 9%. For this particular platter, I used 4 pieces of pristine meat, specifically pristine goat meat, pristine beast meat, pristine bear meat, and pristine deer meat, as these were the ones I had to hand. You can actually use any type of pristine meat you want depending on what build you're running. For example, pristine goat meat provides a burn bonus of 3%, pristine beef gives a frost vortex bonus of 3%, and so on. So choose your meats wisely to complement your playstyle. The second dish is called Supreme Vegetable Platter. Energy plus 100, Gathering Inspiration. Gathering plants, logging and mining grants maximum load plus 2% and gathering XP plus 1% for 30 minutes, up to a maximum load of plus 20% and gathering experience of plus 20%. For this, I use 1 deviated mint, 1 deviated spike mallow, 1 deviated ginger, and 1 deviated polar pepper. This can be incredibly useful for the early phases of a server, gaining a maximum load bonus of 20% and a gathering bonus of 20%. Could be proved to be very effective for resource collection and inventory management. Stack it with a fruity pancake and that's a nice bonus to your experience gains too, helping you level up faster in those crucial initial hours of the gameplay. Our next dish is the Supreme Wild Vegetable Platter. This gives us the energy of 100 and Great One Conquest. Damage against Great Ones plus 4%. For this I use 1 deviated Scarlet Calamus, 1 deviated aloe vera, 1 deviated bellflower, and 1 deviated sage. To maximize these dishes, we need to focus on utilizing the culinary perfection trait. Consuming the exact same creative dish repeatedly will enhance its effects. Remember, different ingredients make it a different dish, even if it's the same type. 2 different Supreme Meat Platters won't stack if their ingredients vary. So after identifying a core legendary dish, like your Supreme Meat Platter, that already offers a desirable damage buffs of your choice, you'll need to grind out the ingredients for that one specific dish to consume it multiple times. It will be a test of dedication and resource management, but the potential for a massive damage multiplier is definitely there. It'll be exciting to see just how potent that culinary perfection can become. I'd like to take a quick moment to say a massive thank you to all my subscribers, both old and new. The support on the last 2 videos has been absolutely amazing, and I generally appreciate all the feedback and information people have shared in the comment sections to help each other out. And to everyone watching right now, this goes for you as well. If you're enjoying my content and haven't yet subscribed, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more of my Once Human guides and the community we are building. But on that note, chefs, let's get cooking. Next, let's take a look at how with the chef class we can utilize all the new buffs from the various food and drink combinations. But take note, it is important to have access to either an alternative character that has the gardener class or a fellow hive member who can grow the specific double buff plants that you are required with the trait from the gardener class. With that being said, I've put together these segments to help you understand what the buffs do and how they work. Due to there being so many new combinations, I urge you to pause each segment and take your time looking for which buffs you need for your specific playstyle. I'll be covering the combos I feel are a solid starting point into this fascinating class. So as you can see on screen, we have a large amount of available buffs. I personally really like the sound of Sage Aloe, with it giving us the buffs of movement speed plus 3% and a stamina plus 3%. All these ingredients can be used in the drinks shown above. I also like the sound of Blood Aloe as well, for its buffs of maximum stamina plus 3% and roll speed plus 3%. Now remember, with the chef's class we have 2 drink buffs running at the same time. So if I make a whimsical drink with Sage Aloe and then drank an iced tea made with Blood Aloe, I would gain all the buffs from both drinks. That would mean I would have movement speed plus 3%, stamina plus 3%, roll speed plus 3%, and another stamina plus 3%, which would give me a total of 3% movement speed, 3% roll speed, and a plus 6% max stamina. That's a fantastic combo for agility and endurance. Next we have the Miracle Tea and Stardust drink. I personally like the idea of making Miracle Tea with deviated sage to gain that extra 5% movement speed bonus. I'd then combine this with my whimsical drink to aid with healing during those tougher engagements. This way you'll get both speed for positioning and sustained recovery to stay in the fight for longer. If you're interested in Starfall events, then these segments are for you. Here you can see the effects and bonuses that are given depending on what fruit you use with these consumables. Next we have the milks and some new additions that come with the update. Now this is where I'd advise that you also have another alt for the Beastmaster class. It's not completely necessary, but the only way to get the honeys are with the Beastmaster class. As for the milks, they are from raising and collecting the byproducts of your animals. The reason I'd say it's important to have a Beastmaster alt is because of its unique traits. You're able to see the animal's traits before capturing them, and animals no longer run from you. Both of these make the grind for those specific trait animals a lot easier, which is crucial for collecting them ingredients efficiently. Feel free to check out my Beastmaster and Gardener guides on my channel. Next up on the list are the eggs. Now with these food buffs, it really all depends on the build you are running. If you're running a burn build, then use bird egg to gain a 4% bonus to your blaze damage. Or maybe you prefer unstable bomber, then you'll want to use pelican egg for your food buff to gain an extra 4% unstable bomber damage. And if you're lucky enough to get pristine egg, it will give you a 4% bonus to all elemental damage. So choose your eggs wisely to perfectly complement your damage type. Next up, we have the segment about all the types of fish buffs that we can gain. In my opinion, these buffs are a little bit meh. Some require the enemy to be affected by frost or burn before you even get the buff, and honestly, some just wouldn't really be used in most scenarios. But again, feel free to pause the segment so you can look at the buffs yourself. You may have a different opinion, and if you do, please leave it in the comments so we can find out all these combos together. Now let's talk about the best part of the chef's class, which is double stacking the food buffs to really gain an advantage on our opponents. So let's begin by looking at what some of the meats do when making these food buffs. If you make a mixed fried hot dog, for example, with regular deer meat, you will gain a 2% damage buff towards vulnerability. If we make it with pork, then we gain a 2% to unstable bomber damage. And if we use beef, we will gain a 2% damage bonus towards frost vortex. However, these can all be increased by using pristine versions of the meats. So with pristine deer meat, we'll gain a 3% damage bonus. With pristine pork, we gain a 3% bonus towards unstable bomber. And the same with pristine and marble beef. This is how you start pushing those damage numbers higher. As mentioned before, it would be a good idea to have an alt that has the Beastmaster class, which will make finding these traits on the animals a lot easier than trying to do it on a class that has Chef, for example. So now let's talk about the combos. So my ideal combo would be to run a whimsical drink and a miracle tea. I will gain all the extra buffs from the deviated crops that I put into making the drinks from the chef's bonuses. Then when it comes to the food buffs, I would run a mixed fried hot dog and, for example, a hearty meat stew to gain the 15% blaze damage if I was running just high density adds in the silos. But then for destroying bosses and going for boss DPS, the ideal combo would be mixed fried hot dog and bone-in deviated sausage. Remember, because of the trait perk glutton, we get to stack 2 foods and 2 drink buffs and have them running simultaneously. Now after consuming my deviated bone-in sausage and mixed fried hot dog, my miracle tea and whimsical drink, you can clearly see how my meta now benefits from all the effects of the buff he has consumed simultaneously. This really showcases the power of the chef class. By strategically combining those various food and drink buffs, you can create incredibly potent temporary enhancements for your character. Whether you need a burst of damage, increased survivability, better resource gathering or enhanced movement, the chef has now a combination for it. This layered buff system is precisely why the chef class, especially when leveraged with the aid of the other 2 classes, the gardener for them crucial plants ingredients, and the Beastmaster for the specific animal byproducts, is looking to be something truly special and incredibly impactful in the Once Human 2.0 update. The potential for optimizing your playstyle through culinary mastery is immense. With that being said, that brings us to the end of my Once Human Chef class guide. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all my subscribers and viewers. I truly hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, drop a comment, or maybe consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any more Once Human guides. On that note, stay clean, chefs.